So yeah, German Pils. I'm not really a lager guy, as I've mentioned multiple times on this show. They're just not my thing. But I do like a good German Pils. It's got so much more character than, say, a Bud Heavy or a Banquet beer. It's still crisp and clean, but it also has flavor. Crazy! I'm going to start off, as always, by reading the overall impressions from my trusty BJCP guidelines. According to those guys, German Pils is a light-bodied, highly attenuated, gold-colored, bottom-fermented, bitter German beer showing excellent head retention and an elegant floral hop aroma. Crisp, clean, and refreshing, a German Pils showcases the finest quality German malt and hops. The aroma on one of these bad boys will feature a medium-low to low, grainy sweet malt character. It often has a light honey and slightly toasted cracker quality too, and a distinctive floral, spicy, or herbal hoppiness. That hop character is moderately low to moderately high. It's in the middle, but it should not dominate the malt presence. It will have a clean fermentation profile, meaning there will be fewer esters and high alcohols. You might detect a very light note of sulfur. This comes from the water as much as it does from the yeast. And there may be a very low background note of DMS, which is the cooked corn, cooked vegetable off flavor. Appearance is an easy one. German Pils is straw to light gold in color. It is brilliant to very clear with a creamy, long-lasting white head. That's it. Short and sweet. Medium to high hop bitterness dominates the palate and lingers into the aftertaste. You'll also taste a moderate to moderately low grainy sweet malt character that supports that hop bitterness. The hops again are floral, spicy, or herbal, and you can get a low to high hop flavor in a German Pils. Fermentation profile is clean, as I said before. The finish here is dry to medium dry, crisp, well attenuated, with a bitter aftertaste and some light malt flavor. Sometimes you will have that light sulfury flavor that can accentuate the dryness and lengthen the finish. This comes from the water used to brew the beer. Some areas have water with high sulfate levels. The further north into Germany you go, the more sulfates you will find in the water. If you have a German Pils from Bavaria, which is more to the south, it will have a softer finish with more of a malt flavor. It will still have a noticeable hop flavor and bitterness, but it will be notably softer. As far as mouthfeel goes, German Pils is medium light in body with medium to high carbonation. Modern examples of Pils tend to get paler in color, drier in finish, and more bitter as you move from southern to northern Germany, which also mirrors the sulfate increase in the water. While the Pils in Bavaria is softer and more malty, it still retains sufficient hoppiness and crispness to differentiate itself from a Munich Helles, which is a very soft malty German beer style. And according to the guidelines, the use of the term Pils is more common in Germany than Pilsner. This is to differentiate it from the Czech style, and some say to show respect to the originator. In fact, the use of the name Pilsner has been a point of some contention since the 1840s when the style was invented. While the Czech Pilsner came first, many German brewers consider the style to be a purely German invention. That's because Joseph Groll, the creator of the first Pilsner, was himself a Bavarian. Not only this, but the brewery in Pilsen that Groll worked at was German-owned. Either way, it wasn't until the early 1870s that brewers in Germany began brewing Pilsners. These German-made Pilsners were adapted to better suit Germany's harder water and local hop strains. This led to a beer that was lighter in body and color, more dry and crisp, and with higher carbonation and a lingering bitterness. But the term Pilsner was still considered proprietary to Pilsner Urquell. It wasn't until 1913 that Germany's Supreme Court deemed it a generic term for the style of beer, allowing brands such as Bitburger and Radeberger to refer to their beers as Pilsners too. Not that many German breweries really even cared. Before World War II, only 1 in 10 commercial breweries in Germany brewed a Pilsner. Then, after the war, while Germany was slowly rebuilding, many young brewers started to brew Pilsners. They were encouraged to do so by professors at Weinstefan in Munich and the VLB in Berlin. Those are institutions that offer training and education services for the brewing industry. One such instructor was a man named Ludwig Narziss. For nearly 3 decades, Narziss was a leading authority in his field at Weinstefan, which is part of the Technical University of Munich. During his time there, Narziss authored hundreds of papers as well as 3 seminal textbooks. While they've gone through many revisions over the years, these books are still used as standard textbooks today. Narziss retired from Weinstefan in 1992, but in his time there he taught 2 generations of German brewers how to achieve that light-colored, clean-tasting beer style we all know and love, and he did so by focusing on modern brewing techniques. By the 1970s, the German Pils was distinctly different from its Czech cousin. Diacetyl, a characteristic component in a Czech Pilsner, was fully weeded out in the German style. The use of Saaz hops also faded, with German brewers instead opting for the more grassy, slightly citrusy Tettnanger strain. Other characteristic ingredients are continental Pilsner malt, which are malts made on mainland Europe, German hop varieties or noble hops, such as Tettnang, Hallertau, Saaz, and Spalt, though the Saaz is less common, like I just said, and German lager yeast, of which there are many. As far as style comparisons go, we already mentioned Czech Pilsner in depth, or Czech Premium Pale Lager, as the guidelines say. As a quick recap, the German Pils is lighter in body and color, drier, crisper, and more fully attenuated than the Czech Pils. It also has a lingering bitterness and a higher level of carbonation. German Pils also has more hop character, malt flavor, and bitterness than international pale lagers and American lagers. That's because those beers don't really have much in the way of flavor. Those are your Heinekens, your Red Stripes, your Corona Extras, as well as your Bud Heavies and Miller's High Life. Your boring macro lagers, essentially. Beers that are not even allowed to market themselves as Pilsners in Europe. That's why I said earlier that there is no such thing as an American Pilsner. Budweiser may call itself a Pilsner, but no one believes it. It's just muddying the waters by calling itself that. Anyway, German Pils also has more hop character and bitterness, with a drier, crisper finish than a Munich Helles. The Helles has more malt flavor, but of the same character as the Pils. So, vital statistics. The IBU range of German Pils goes from 22 to 40. What's interesting is that is slightly lower than the IBU range of a Czech Premium Pale Lager, but the bitterness shines through so much more on the German Pils. SRM goes from 2 to 5, so from straw-colored to very pale gold, and the ABV goes from 4.4% to 5.2%. There are literally hundreds of commercial examples of this style: Bitburger Premium Pils, Radeberger Pilsner, Weinstefaner Pilsner, Paulaner Premium Pils, Veltins Pilsner. The list goes on and on and on. Some craft examples are the Victory Prima Pils, Firestone Walker Pivo Pils, North Coast Scrimshaw, and Trogue Sunshine Pils. Again, there are so many examples of this style. You could drink a different one every day and never make it through all of them. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll get into some homebrew tips. This is another one of those styles where there probably won't be much to say about it as far as homebrewing goes, so Thomas and I will most likely end up going off on a random tangent or two, so stick around. You don't want to miss that, do you?